There's been a lot of discussions in author groups recently about whether or not people can input data into an AI generator and then get text spit out for their novel, which they then reword or rephrase as if they are amending what that AI generator has created so that they can then copyright it and use it legally inside of their novel. Is this something that we can legally do? There was actually a recent court case that has implications on this conversation. So today we're talking to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called the IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We've been getting some really interesting questions about AI generated content. And in recent episodes, we talked about a case where it kind of went to the point of saying, unless there's substantial human involvement, it's not going to have copyright protection. We talked a little bit about this in the context of a book cover or artwork when it comes to novels. I want to talk a little bit about what happens when people are going to AI generators and asking it to write a novel, chapters, a section of a chapter, and the authors are then rewording the things that the AI generator has created. Does that count as substantial human involvement so that it could potentially have copyright protection, Tony?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards that. That's a firm no for me. It's just it doesn't feel like that's enough to have substantial human involvement, and I'll explain kind of why. But just for context, if you haven't seen the previous episodes, first definitely watch those episodes. They're hopefully good explainers of this topic. But it's important to note that when you create a work of authorship, in the context of copyright, of course, originality is, I think, the most important buzzword that goes hand in hand with the substantial human involvement requirement that the US Copyright Office keeps throwing out here when they're dealt with these AI generated artwork cases. So originality deals with something that was created organically, and that drives at the heart of, you have an idea and that sits in your head, but it's that idea that is expressed in some tangible medium of expression that now all of a sudden not only gets protection but has some type of meaning. So the human mind is a pretty powerful tool and is capable of so much creativity itself. Something that is lacking with artificial intelligence or software, anything that is tech related. So the essence of having copyright protection for something that was created by a human, of course, that's going to fly. That's going to work out well because it was actually, manipulated by a human author. They had an idea in their head and they expressed it in the way that they saw fit. That's something that is non-existent when you're talking about artificial intelligence. So when you're talking about going to an AI generator and you're asking the system to draft chapter after chapter, and you're just finding synonyms for those words, like you find, let's say the first part of the chapter says, she walked through the bushes and found the dog, and you have something like you revise it to like she walked briskly through the shrubbery and found a creature. It's the same thing, folks. Okay, it's the exact same thing. There's nothing original about that whatsoever. So what I think that's going to also be the type of unique case that the Copyright Office would have to see and say, oh, this is not created there's no substantial human involvement. This is not created by a human author. You're deriving most of this from AI generators. That's not going to get copyright protection. And also in the same vein, I think that there could be a world where when they do get this type of case and somebody tries to make that argument for, oh, well, I've revised it because I added my own spin on it, my own words, the U.S. Copyright Office is probably going to cite to the Zarya of the Dawn case that we've talked about previous episodes, where the author argued, well, I went to Midjourneys, asked it to generate images, but I went to Photoshop and revised it. Touching up on Photoshop in their eyes was not enough to qualify as substantial human involvement. So if it applied to that case, it's going to apply equally in a case like this.
That makes a lot of sense. And as authors, I feel ethically, we do know that just changing some words is not enough to constitute it being our own book. But that also goes into a conversation about ghostwriting and beyond. So if you've got questions on this, go ahead and drop it down below. We are going to continue to monitor this and watch cases as they're rolling out so that we know what we can and cannot legally protect when it comes to creating content through an AI generator. If you've got questions, if you have conversations or topics you want to discuss related to this, drop them down below. Tony's coming back for more episodes. And in the meantime, do not take AI generated text, switch up a couple of words, and use it inside of your novel because that is not going to work to your benefit. And if you ever have questions about this, talk to your lawyer. Your lawyer will be able to help you and guide you down this path. And as always, you can drop your questions here for Tony or visit him online to make sure that you are staying legally protected in the IP and entertainment law space. So, Tony, where can everybody reach out to you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my brand new entertainment law podcast, End Scene, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're going to continue to discuss this conversation, so hit that subscribe and notification bell because Tony is coming back. And as more court cases roll out with rulings, we will be able to bring this to you in real time so that you know how this directly impacts your future in the publishing industry. Questions related to this or anything in the field of publishing that needs legal oversight, drop your questions now because Tony is coming back for future episodes. And we're continuing to roll out daily episodes to help you navigate the world of publishing, social media marketing, and making this your most profitable year ever. We'll see you in the next episode.